At long last, TJ Watt is extended. On Thursday, the Pittsburgh Steelers made Watt the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history, signing him to a 3-year deal worth $123 million. With Watt now set to be around for the foreseeable future, the Steelers can turn their attention to their other needs, as they are focused on contending for a title. With Aaron Rodgers in place at quarterback and Watt now extended, Pittsburgh's next step needs to be adding a wide receiver. The team already acquired DK Metcalf this offseason, but after sending George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, the Steelers could use another productive veteran receiver. Steelers must turn their attention to the wide receiver room after extending TJ Watt. With Pickens no longer in town, the receiver room consists of Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, and Roman Wilson. Pittsburgh also has tight ends Pat Freiermuth and the recently acquired Jonnu Smith. The pass-catching group could be enough to get the job done, but it never hurts adding more talent to be sure. Fortunately for the Steelers, there are quite a few affordable options available. Atop the list of free agents are Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper. Both will be solid options for this veteran team that's looking to compete right now. Pittsburgh could also trade for Jawan Jennings, who recently demanded a new contract or a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. If San Francisco isn't willing to pay him what he's looking for, the Steelers should explore acquiring him. Jennings doesn't have the accolades Allen and Cooper do, but he's a consistent and reliable receiver who is also an elite blocker. Whether it's Jennings, Allen, Cooper, or Gabe Davis, who Pittsburgh briefly explored, the Steelers need to focus on adding a wideout now that they've handled their biggest priorities of the offseason. The Pittsburgh Steelers reportedly signed All-Pro edge rusher TJ Watt to a massive contract extension that makes him the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Believe it or not, this news is meaningful for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Here's how.
1. The Eagles will not be trading for TJ Watt in 2025. There was previously some idle offseason discussion about the Eagles trading Nolan Smith and a late-round draft pick for Watt. That much seemingly stemmed from a Sports Radio 94 WIP interview with a Steelers reporter who speculated such a deal could take place. While it's always fun to talk about and dream up potential trade scenarios, the feeling here is that proposed swap was never very realistic. For starters, it was hard to ever believe the Steelers were going to ship out a cornerstone like Watt. They're 1-11 in games without him since he was drafted. And they're clearly in a win-now window after signing aging veterans like Aaron Rodgers, who turns 42 this season, and former Eagles cornerback Darius Slay. As for the Eagles' perspective, they clearly haven't been interested in making a big-money external acquisition this offseason. They've instead opted to shed cash spending in some places. See C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade, Dallas Goedert pay cut. They also went bargain bin shopping in free agency. The idea in mind has been that they're saving up for upcoming contract extensions for homegrown talents, such as Jalen Carter and Smith himself. While Watt is obviously a superior player to Smith, the latter is a good value for the Eagles as an ascending talent who currently holds relatively low cap numbers on his rookie contract for 2 more seasons, plus a 5th-year team option for 2027. In short, Watt to the Eagles was never happening. 2. Jalen Carter certainly isn't mad at this news. Carter will be eligible for a contract extension on January 5, 2026. A guest writer for Bleeding Green Nation previously outlined what a new deal for him might look like. To me, that projection of $30 million per year seems low, with Chris Jones currently on top of the defensive tackle market at $31.75 million annually. If Carter continues on his upward trajectory, I think he's at least going to make more than that. And maybe even as high as the $40 million range, especially if he's in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, which seems entirely possible. I don't know if Carter will be making more than Watt's $41 million annual value. They obviously play different positions, and there's a pretty big bridge for Carter to get to that point. But this Watt contract only helps his chances. The bread man is going to get his bread. 3. Micah Parsons' price tag just went up, again. If the Dallas Cowboys, who haven't been to an NFC championship game since the 1995 season, operated more like the Eagles, who have 2 Super Bowl wins in 3 appearances since the 2017 season, they would have had Parsons to sign to a relative bargain by now. He was eligible for an extension as early as 2 years ago. Instead, Jerry Jones is inexplicably dragging his feet, and it's only costing him more money in the long run. Just like it did when the Cowboys waited longer than necessary to extend Dak Prescott multiple times and CeeDee Lamb. With what reportedly signing a 3-year contract extension worth $123 million with $108 million guaranteed, there's no good reason for Parsons to accept less than the height of top non-QB money at $41 million annually. Ironically, Parsons expressed frustration with his contract situation earlier on Thursday. He specifically said that the Cowboys make it more complicated than has to be. And he's not wrong. Accordingly, Cowboys fans are also feeling frustrated. Had the Cowboys signed him 2 years ago, Parsons could have been making something around Nick Bosa's September 2023 deal that's worth $34 million per year. Instead, he could be making something like $42 million annually. Or perhaps even more if Dallas doesn't get to him before the likes of Aiden Hutchinson or Trey Hendrickson only continue to push the price tag up. I don't think Eagles fans would mind if Parsons got so fed up that he decided not to re-up with the Cowboys and instead joined his Penn State buddy Saquon Barkley in Philly next year. For did you know? The Eagles and Steelers used to be the same team once upon a time, so they're actually directly connected. Mike Tomlin has one of the most illustrious streaks in professional sports, never having a losing season in his 18 years as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. However, if his 19th season ends in a losing record, analyst Mike Renner thinks his time in Pittsburgh may be coming to an end. Steelers faithful have not been enthused with Tomlin and the direction they're going, Renner said Wednesday on CBS Sports HQ, and rightfully so. I do think if they don't meet .500 this year, those grumblings will turn into screams from Steelers fans, just because of who they are as a franchise and what the expectations are. And so, right or wrong, if he doesn't go .500 this year, I think that might be it for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Renner claims that Steelers fans aren't happy with Mike Tomlin, but he might even be underselling their lack of satisfaction. It's hard to blame those fans for feeling that way. The Steelers are used to winning or contending for Super Bowls. Now, the bar has been lowered to simply a playoff win, a feat the Steelers haven't even accomplished in nearly a decade under Tomlin. However, pressure from the fan base doesn't mean the coach is going to leave. If the Steelers listen to their fans, the roster would look significantly different than it does right now. In all likelihood, Mike Tomlin won't be going anywhere unless the Steelers have a drastically bad season. He still has 2 years left on his deal after the 2025 season. The Steelers aren't a team that wants to move on from a coach still under contract, especially not a head coach. Beyond that, it wouldn't make a ton of sense given the team's roadmap. While the Steelers seem to be going all in this year, they're not disregarding their future. The Steelers have a ton of draft picks available next April, more than enough to trade up in the first round for a quarterback if need be. Beyond just the QB, there's a lot of youth on offense. Aside from Isaac Seumalo, the entire starting offensive line is young. The Steelers have youth at receiver in Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson. And rookie running back Caleb Johnson could make quite an impact as well. For all his perceived faults, Mike Tomlin does provide stability that few other coaches can. Assuming they draft a quarterback next offseason, the offense is going to be extremely young. It would make a lot of sense to move on from Tomlin while trying to develop that side of the ball, unless the Steelers find a coach better than him, which isn't likely. That doesn't mean Steelers fans have to be happy with Tomlin. They sure aren't now. They definitely won't be if the 2025 season goes south, after all the moves they've made. However, anybody calling for Tomlin to leave probably has to wait a couple more years, at least.